Hello everybody and welcome. I've just gotten back from a week-long vacation in the French Alps and it was beautiful, and I not only wanted to show you that and share that with you, but most importantly I wanted to share with you the handmade pieces that I brought along with me because I was able to pack almost exclusively handmade or hand-sewn pieces, and I thought that perhaps that would give you ideas as to future summer projects that you might want to work on or travel projects that would be useful for your travel wardrobe if you were to travel in the summertime as well. But before we begin, you might be wondering how come she sounds like an American but she's vacationing in France. And hello and welcome, my name is Sarah. I am originally from the East Coast of the United States, but I moved to France in 2009 for my studies, and I've been here working and living ever since. I became a French citizen in 2019, and I live in the suburbs of Paris with my husband, and we often vacation in France. And on this channel I mostly talk about sewing and my sewing projects, but sometimes about what it's like to live in France because that definitely influences what I make and what I wear. And so I hope this will be interesting to you, and welcome. So my husband and I have been looking for a long time for the ideal vacation spot to go to in August because the company I used to work for, or that I worked for over the past 10 years, I was laid off just recently, and it's something I've been dealing with, and those of you who've been watching have been very, very kind, and I have been so lucky to have your support. It has really meant a lot to me, but it has been hard. Anyway, I'm really grateful that I was still able to go on a summer vacation and sort of thinking something else for a little while. And anyway, the company I used to work for would close for 2 weeks in August, and so I would have to be on vacation for 2 weeks in August, and so to make the most of it and not stay in the steaming hot pollution sauna that is Paris in the summertime, my husband and I like to get away. And so we've been looking for the past 10 years the ideal spot for traveling that isn't too hot for my husband, but also has summer activities for me, like swimming and going to the beach and being outside, and that isn't too crowded and isn't too expensive, which is hard in August. And we've gone all over the place. We've especially been to Brittany the last few years because it's absolutely beautiful, but it often rains, even in August, and so that doesn't allow for summertime activities like going and swimming in the ocean, for example, for me. And so we decided to go to the Alps because there's a lake called the Lac du Serpençon where my husband used to go to as a kid with his family and family friends. There was a campsite that they would go to and they would go camping there, and so he knows it from that. And we were there 10 years ago, but we haven't been back since because it is kind of far from where we live and not a region that we explore very often. But I had the idea, why not go there, because the lake is absolutely gorgeous. It's not too hot because it's up in the mountains. It's beautiful weather, it's beautiful countryside, the people are nice. Why not try it again and go back for a week? And we reserved this vacation before I knew that I was being laid off. And yeah, I'm really happy that we were able to go. It was so beautiful, and I highly recommend going. If you are in France in August and you're thinking of traveling in France during this time, I would highly, highly recommend this lake, the Lac du Serpençon, because it was just gorgeous. It was the perfect weather, so sunny and about 85 during the day, but cool in the shade because there was a nice cool mountain breeze, and then cool at night because, as you might know, there isn't very much air conditioning in France, and so that's something to take into account. And then it was just beautiful countrysides, beautiful views, good food. There are vineyards and breweries if you want to check out the local wine or beer. There are lots of fresh fruits and veggies grown because the lake is actually a man-made dam that was made, I think, in the 1960s, and the water is used for farming further down south of the lake, and there's a lot of really good local grown produce. I think that their specialties are apples and pears and plums. And there are so many summer activities to explore. There was hiking, some people were mountain climbing, some people were hang gliding, which is specialized. But then there were so many lake activities too: sailing, kayaking, paddleboarding. There were people paddle boating with their kids, and just so much swimming. And something that I absolutely love about France, and I'll only say a little bit about this because otherwise this video will be too long, is that there is so much access, public free access to nature, whether it be the coast or forests or gardens in cities or lakes. It is very easy to find public access and to benefit from it. I think that access to nature is a big part of good health, and here in France it's very, very easy because privatizing, for example, lakeside property and things like that is strictly limited here, and therefore it's very easy to find public access and to have access to those places, which is just, it aligns with my values and it makes me really happy to see that anyone can go for a hike. It's free, there's free parking, and as long as everybody's respectful of that space, it's clean and safe, and it's just, yeah. Anyway, this was a great vacation and I highly recommend it, and I will share it with you in a montage at the end of this video. But before I say more, because I've already blathered about this vacation for a while now, because I was just absolutely happy to go, I wanted to show you exactly what I packed. So without further ado, let me show you the handmade pieces I brought with me on this vacation. First and foremost, I intended to swim as much as possible on this vacation, so I brought 2 swimsuits, including what I call my Barbie pink Closet Core Patterns Sophie swimsuit, and then this second Closet Core Sophie swimsuit in this striped blue fabric, and that is also a staple in my summer wardrobe. Then for a bathing suit cover-up, I brought this Closet Core Patterns Charlie caftan in this Indian block print fabric. Then I brought 2 O's Patterns Brené tops, one in this black cotton voile with a slightly embroidered finish on it, and then also in a Italian linen in this leaf print. Then I brought 3 Ogden camis in black, also in white, and also in dark blue in a Cupro fabric. Then a white cotton Seymour Kansi top, and also a white cotton Seymour Loretta top. And then I brought 2 Coralie Bigasson Aola tees in this 3/4 length sleeve cotton knit version. And then also this aqua-colored short sleeve version in a rib knit that I just finished making just before leaving for vacation. And then I also brought my Creabea Tosta tank in this raspberry color that I knit up last summer. For cooler weather, I brought my Seymour Callan sweater that I made with the bonus sleeves in this mixed polyester and wool fabric. For pants, I brought these Seymour Joss pants that I made not long ago in a vlog if you'd like to check it out, in this green linen. I also brought my True Bias Danny shorts in this beige linen with the chevron pattern to it that I absolutely love. And then for skirts for cooler weather, I brought this République du Chiffon Annette skirt that I love for travel because it's in this heavy viscose that doesn't wrinkle very much. And then I brought 3 Helen's Closet Donovan skirts, including this heavier white linen version that I just recently made that I'll be showing you in more detail very soon. And then also this linen gingham version that I made very recently and that I've been wearing a lot, and that was the result of an attempt to make a zero waist pattern that failed. But in the end I got this skirt and I'm very happy with it. And then last but not least of my Helen's Closet Donovan skirts that I brought with me is this viscose version in this vintage Italian tile print. It is probably one of my favorite summer pieces and I love it. And then just in case we had a special occasion, I brought my silver rosy skirt in this striped linen fabric that I made recently, and it's a free pattern, so I'll link that below as well. And then for dresses, I only brought one dress this time, and it is the Silver Lottie dress that I made years ago in this blue and white cotton double gauze fabric. And then really quickly for shoes, I brought my trusty espadrilles for sort of a casual summer sneaker, my trusty Birkenstocks that I think I wore the most, a pair of sandals for more of a going out occasion, and then probably most importantly for this trip, hiking boots. Then I was all packed up and ready to go. So before I show you footage of this vacation and these outfits in real life, I wanted to say goodbye really quickly. I have linked in the description below all of the patterns of the handmade pieces I've presented to you today, so don't hesitate to check those out. And let me know if you sewed for or what you brought handmade on your summer travels or summer adventures. I'd love to know because I'm always looking for more versatile travel pieces to add to my handmade wardrobe. Thank you for watching. I hope you are all having a lovely summer, and I hope you enjoy this footage of the French Alps and the Lac de Serponçon.